Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Mang Yao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Tsongkhong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dupten Dorje. We pay homage to the three jewels on the altar and the main deity of the group practice tonight, Amitabha Buddha of Sukhavati, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva and Mahastama Prapta Bodhisattva. Simo, Tanzan Gyatso, Dutton City, all Dhamma Masters, all the venerables, and Dhamma lecturers, assistants, directors, all disciples and participants, good evening. And also those on the internet, how do you do?
Hola amigo, que quiero mucho. Going, Ichiba, Kimochi, Yumi, Yapi, Birin, Konbanwa.
Let me first share a joke. The mom asked dad to wash the dishes, and the dad did not want to reject her, so he asked his son, who's in elementary school, and kindly told him, hey, this is a good chance for you to learn to wash dishes. In the future, you can help your wife too. And the son said, oh, no need. In the future, I will ask my son to do it for me. So that's lineage. What you do, and your subordinates or followers will follow. So sometimes, as a guru, you have to watch your own speech and actions to avoid their influence on the followers or the latter generations. Yesterday, someone asked me, who's in charge in your family? And I said, of course me, I'm the master of my home. And how about your wife? Oh, my wife is one dot less. I mean, this is a Chinese characters. So Sister King, the Chinese character. Those are very smart jokes. Just now we watched the animation prepared by D.B. Boye, the True Buddha Prajna Tertiary.
很好。
We felt that they did a very good job.
这个没有话讲。生活中在弘扬
It's
上面呢、
kudo.
这个可以讲，目前在弘扬
Nothing
生
to
活中的
criticize.
所有过去的
We can
出
say
版社来讲起来，
of all the
这个
previous
经
publishers,
过好多的出版社，他们都是主，只有真佛波叶藏是王。
so the earlier publishers are like the master, but the D.B. Boye is like the king.
那现在呢，进入你问我答，
So now we will do the question and answer.
这个我问你答。
It's not that I ask and you answer, but you
马来
ask
西
and I
亚
answer.
莲花锦强，
By Lianhua Jin Chang from
师
Malaysia.
尊你好，
Grandmaster,
想
how
知
do you
道
do?
为何莲
I would
花
like to know why
18颜色，
Padma
这
Kumara,
些颜色
why
修
are
出来
there
吗？
18 colors for Padma Kumaras?
这些颜色是
Do
修
you
出来的
attain
吗？
them by practicing?
18种颜色，这些
The
颜色是
18
修
different
出来的吗？
colors. Do you practice
现
them?
在问大家，
Do you
我
practice
问
to
你答，
attain them? Okay, now it's my turn to ask and you answer.
哇，
Wow.
天哪，是咕噜咕噜佛母耶，
Heavens, it's Guru Gule Buddha Mother.
哇，还有福哎，
And a talisman too.
天赐财富福，
Oh, bestowal of great
这个佛牌
fortune.
很好，
Nice one.
这个奖马上是你。
Nice amulet. This gift will be yours.
好，谁能答？举手
Who can answer? Please raise your hand.
啊，那边有人答，
Someone there?
政府。哦，那个啊，艳丽，是因为艳
Oh,
丽
it's due to the power of your vow.
是吗？才有那种
Right.
颜色是吗？
So they have such color.
艳丽产生那种颜色。
So due to their vow, they generate
我告诉大家哈，
the color.
密教的几个颜色非常重要。
Let me tell you,
红
several colors are very important in
代
Tantric
表自
Buddhism.
然
Red signifies love and
那么
respect,
蓝色代
magnetization.
表降服，
Blue signifies subjugation.
黄色
Yellow
就是代表真义，
represents enrichment,
白色
and white
就代表息灾
represents purification
息增
or calamity eradications.
息增怀许。
So those are for purifications, enrichments,
艳丽
magnetization,
所
and
产生
subjugation.
出来的颜色，
The colors
要
that
的
is
是
produced
你根据
by the
哪一本
vows.
经典所说，
That makes sense. Which sutra
艳
did
丽
you base it?
根据哪一个经典所说？
The power of your vows?
刚刚哪个回答？
The one that answered earlier?
啊，请你站起来。
Please stand up.
真活经，
True Buddha Sutra.
那你回答。
How about you?
是啊，他讲的是他举手最快。
She raised her hand first,
好，
so she'll get the gift.
很好。
Very good.
你等一等。
Yeah, you wait.
好，好，阿弥陀佛。
Amitabha. Thank you, Grandmaster.
这马来西亚莲花锦强
Question
问的，
from Lianhua Jinqiang from
到
Malaysia.
为何莲花同
I like to know why
而此颜色
there
是
are
修出来
18
的
colors of Padma
因
Kumara,
为
and do they get the color due to their practice?
出来的颜色
It's the color due to their vows.
第二个问题，
The second question,
莲花生药，
Lianhua Seng Yao.
问师尊佛安，
Grandmaster,
弟
peace
子
with
曾
you.
于网路
I
听
once
过，若行者身体
saw on the
无患
internet
任何疾病，
that when you're
但
not
修
sick at
持
all
破瓦法，
and you
是一
practice
种
the
属
Poa
类
practice,
似
which is the
自
opening
杀的
of
行
the
为，
apex, it's
会
a kind
堕
of
入
a
三恶道。
suicide and will fall
可
into the
请
three
师
lower
父
realms.
慈悲开示，是否真有流传如
Please
此的说法？
advise if this is
是
the
修这
the
个
correct
破
view,
瓦法，
the Poa
类似
practice
自杀的行为，会堕入三恶道。
is similar to suicide
是
and will
否
fall
真
into
有
the three
流
lower
传如
realms.
此的说法？这个我自己本身
Is this popular? This let me
这本身
answer.
是破瓦。
Grandmaster
什么叫破瓦
has
呢？
opened the
就
apex.
是这个
What does
中
it
间
mean?
开了
Poa is
开了
that
顶，就是开顶，
when you open
开
the
顶。
tip of your head,
这个开顶呢，可以照到我的那个顶吗？
can you shoot it with the camera?
可以照得到吗？
Can you capture it?
破瓦法是密教当中的一个法。
So the
这是
Poa
开顶，等于是
Dharma
开顶。
practice is one of the tantric practices, which is the practice to open the tip
这我要
of
我
your
要低下去
skull.
是吧 ？OK，
I have to bend my head,
可以看得到吗？
but can you see? Mm-mm.
OK， 哇，这很厉害啊！现在连这么小的这个顶都可以看到这个开了
Oh,
一个顶啊！
that's
这
amazing
开
that
顶变的
you
是
can even
说
see it.
刚开始我们刚刚出生的 baby， 一般都
When
是开顶。
babies, when babies are born, typically
baby 的时候，它是
their skull's still
开顶，
open,
刚出生的 baby 是开顶，
so the tip of their
后来
heads are still
慢
open.
慢的
And then
长大以后，
gradually, as they
慢
grow
慢
up,
地这个顶关起来，
it will be closed.
就等于合起来，合起来
Then
的
the skull will
就
close
开顶。
off. Then it's not open anymore.
在还没有开顶以前，有时候 baby 他可以看到
So
无形，他可以看到
before
无形
that, baby sometimes
他
can
想出
see
来的
the
有
intangibles.
时候是很奇怪的
So sometimes they would speak
啊，没有合起来以前，
s-
他可以看到，
strange things. So before they close off, they
所以
would
他
be
有
able
时
to
候啊，
see the
他无缘无
intangibles.
故，他就会笑，
Or
就会
sometimes they would laugh at
是有人跟
nothing.
他改人啊哈，改人爱一直笑。
So is it
啊，
because
有人较聪
someone
明的时候，他就会哭，无缘无故
is
也会哭，无缘无故他也会笑。
someone is
因为他
in contact with them, or sometimes they cry or they laugh for nothing. That's because babies can see the intangibles
以前的事情，
and they can remember things of the past.
以后就没有了。
But once the skull or the apex closes off,
完全就已经
then they don't have such experience anymore. Then they would separate from the
至于
spirit
网络
world.
上流行说破瓦法是一种类似自杀的行为，因为破瓦法本身来讲，
So saying that
在做保
Poa
护
practice is like a suicide, it's because when you practice the treasure vase energy,
你平时
you also push against the apex.
在下丹田
Normally,
的
you
地方
gather the qi at the lower dantian around the navel,
这个
navel chakra, and then you say
汗，
hang,
这个气呀、它会冲
and
到
then
这
you
个
push the qi to your apex, and then you say ka, and it would drop down.
从中脉冲到底，
So
那
you
个时候
push through the central channel,
破瓦法的，因为你气冲顶，
and because the peak or the apex,
然后
and
将
because you
来
push against it, you would have some
首
sensation,
先
and then it would
有一
gradually
点
open.
黄色的液体出来，
And at first there would be some
在这里，
yellow secretion
也就是你这个顶慢慢
in
就
that
打
area. Then your skull, the apex, would slightly open, would gradually
当你
open.
开了顶以后呢，
But there is a
一
rule.
个月只能够冲顶，
Once it is opened, you can only practice pushing against it once a month. You cannot do
为
it
什么叫你这
frequently.
样子不要常常冲顶？
Why?
因为你常常冲
Cannot
顶，
be too often.
每一天你都冲顶，
Because if,
就把这个顶
say, you do it every day,
冲到最后，把你
and
的
then
命气
it's
也冲出来，
very open, and then you can push your life energy out, and you would die.
就会死掉。
Then you would die.
啊，平时我们修保平气的时候啊，
And normally, when we practice the treasure vase energy,
你观想本尊，
and
本尊住
if
在这里，
your apex already open, you visualize your yidam sit on top of
用一
it,
只脚踩住这
or
个，
no, stand on top of it, using his
让你的
feet.
命气不要冲出来，
He covers the hole so that your life
让你
chi
的命气不要冲出
cannot
来，
be pushed out.
那个是没有过患，就不会有过患。
Then there will be no faults.
所以这是有方法的，有方法的，
So there is a method
不会说，
to this.
但是也有这样上师这样子讲，
However, there is also a guru who said,
因为人活在这世上啊，释迦牟尼佛常常讲，
as Sakyamuni
人
Buddha
活在
often
这世
said,
界上本来就是苦的，
humans living on earth or in the world is suffering. Although there's some happiness, but suffering is more than happiness.
那你留在这世间做什么？
Then why do you want to stay in the world?
不如干脆就不要本尊住顶，本尊的脚也不要踩。
So you may not want the yidam on top of your head, and you don't want his feet covering the hole, and you always push your qi to your apex,
偏行气，
and you use your upper qi, lower qi, your peripheral qi, your inner fire accompanying qi, and then you push your life qi
到佛国去
out your body and go to the Pure Land directly.
人生虽短，但是精彩就好。
It's okay to have a short life as long as it
留一
is
条生
rich
命留在这世间做什么？
or magnificent.
我们不把生死当
So
回事
why do we want to keep alive in this human world. Death is no big deal to us. Birth is death, death is birth. We never treat it as a big deal. If you can transport your life chi out of your apex, and you have a yidam, and you can go to the heart of the yidam directly, then you would become the yidam immediately. So by practicing the yidam deity yoga, you become the yidam and you go to the place of the yidam. I remember Master Lu-Ling Shen told me at her old age, she suffered all kinds of illnesses and pains all over her body. Taking a step is painful, headache, shoulder ache, pain on the legs, feet, joints, all over the body. And she can see clearly all white hair and shaky teeth for many years. And after she passed away, she came to my painting room and told me, Grandmaster Lu, tell everybody, tell the sentient beings that it is so good to be dead. It is so good to die. After she died, all the illnesses disappear. So she became a joyful angel. Now she's a very happy angel. She can transform infinitely. She wears celestial garments that never need to be washed, never get filthy. And with a thought, you would get whatever you want to eat and will be satisfied. With a thought, you can travel anywhere to the Buddha land. So it is much happier in the heavenly realms compared to the human realm. There is no such thing as sicknesses. That's why it's called the utmost bliss. Complete bliss, no suffering. For human beings, being sick is suffering, aging is suffering, being born is suffering too. And you don't get what you want to win a lottery. It's more difficult than being struck by a thunder. You don't get what you want. So there are three difficult things in the world. We often say in this mundane world. The first one, it's difficult to go to heavens, which means it is very difficult to have attainments through your spiritual cultivation. Second, it is difficult to make money. It is very difficult. Third, it is interpersonal issues are very difficult to resolve to satisfaction. It is very difficult to get along with other people. Those are the three difficult things in the world. So Boa practice is a kind of suicide if you don't follow the methods that Grandmaster said. Then it will not be suicidal. It is the action or the method to leave the body and have attainment. It has nothing to do with suicide. If you live through your apex, you would never go to three lower realms. if your soul leaves the apex, you would never fall into three lower realms. You can only go to the three lower realms if you leave your body through your anus, through your secret parts, or through your navel chakra. If you leave through your eyes, the orifices in the head, eyes, ears, mouth, nose, then you would become animals as big as an elephant and as small as an ant. If you always want to harm others, you will become poisonous snake. Very simple. As long as you have attainment in your Poa practice and the yidams on top of your head, and you enter into the heart of your yidam directly, and you do it at the moment of death, that your yidam is sitting on top of your head, and you transport your life chi into the heart of your yidam, then you would have the attainment of the yidam, or you would become the yidam. That is the proper way. You will never go to the lower realms. That's why when Grandmaster performed the guidance during the Bardo spirit, the Bardo state is that open the gate to heavens, block the roads to the human realms, to the ghostly realms. To open the gate to heaven is to open the apex, to block the holes to the three lower realms, and also to close off the road to be reborn as human again, and or to the ghost or the Bardo states. Only opening the apex, the heavenly gates, the gates to heaven. The gates to heaven. So that was wrong, what was written on the internet. That's wrong, saying that it is a suicide and falling into the three lower realms. Now you understand, no? Second question. As a tantric practitioner, we often hear that many lineage gurus and practitioners have paid homage and taken refuge in many other gurus. For example, Guru Tsongkhapa, who at first took refuge in the Lu-Ling Shen, the Venerable or the Master Dr. Rincher. And then later on, he was sent to Uzang, which is a region in Tibet, and also took refuge in many other gurus from different schools. But lastly, he treated the Jetsun Rentawa as his lineage root guru. So I would like to ask, what does it mean to be lineage root guru? So if we say like Guru Tsongkhapa, he treated Guru Rentawa as his lineage guru, how about the other gurus? So for Guru Tsongkhapa, his first guru was Tunchu Renchin. He empowered him in many Dharma practices, Tunchu Renchin. And then he went to Uzang region of Tibet in Lhasa, around Lhasa. And eventually he treated Jetsun Rentawa as his yidam, or his lineage root guru. Jetsun Rentawa belongs to the Sakya sect. But Tsongkhapa was an emanation of Manjushri Bodhisattva. His closest affinity was with Manjushri Bodhisattva. Anything that he could not understand, he would ask another guru. What was his name? No, Rendawa. That's his lineage root guru. He asked another Lama. Every time Tsongkhapa encountered an issue, Manjushri Bodhisattva would descend upon that Lama, and the Lama would explain to Tsongkhapa. Do you understand? Because every time Tsongkhapa encountered a problem that he could not understand, he would ask that Lama. Because Manjushri Bodhisattva will descend upon that Lama's body and answered the questions or the issues Tsongkhapa had. The Lama names is very famous. What's his name? Okay, let's not talk about the Lama. But Guru Tsongkhapa lastly treated Jejun Rantawa as lineage root guru. But how about like Todje Tadrum Rinchen, his first guru? Because Guru Tsongkhapa, after leaving his homeland, he never returned. He left Qinghai and never returned ever until his death. So after he left his mother, he never saw her again. There was a temple in Qinghai, the birthplace of Tsongkhapa. What's the name of the temple there? The 6 major temples of Gelugpa and 3 in Tibet, and then there are also temples in Qinghai and Gansu provinces. The birthplace of Tsongkhapa. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. We know the one in Tibet, Drepung, Gantan. Grand Master had given Dharma teaching at the Drepung Monastery and then the Kandan Monastery, and there was one more. And then Sera Monastery. It's called Dar Temple.
没有错。啊，青海是塔尔寺，塔尔寺就是宗喀巴出生的地方。
That's the birthplace of Tsongkhapa.
那是很有名的啊，宗喀巴出生的地方。另外，
It's the famous one.
达普林寺
And Lu-Ling Monastery in
达
Gansu.
普林寺。另外呢，还有一个还有六大寺。
There are six of them. Please check
奇怪，
one more.
基本常识你们都不知道。杂省伦布寺是那个是属于后藏啊，是属于后藏的寺庙，后藏的寺庙是班禅的。
The inner Tibet, that's the temple of Panchen Lama.
拉萨有三大寺，是甘丹寺、哲蚌寺、
Kantan Monastery, Drepung Monastery, Sera Monastery in Lhasa, Tibet.
日喀则的杂省伦布寺，甘南的拉卜
杂
林寺
省
就是甘肃的，甘肃南方的
Gansu Lu-Ling
青海的塔尔
Monastery
寺就是六大寺，没有错。
and the Dar Monastery of Qinghai.
杂省伦布寺是班禅的主要的寺。
And the Zasing Limpo Monastery belong to Banchan Lama.
这根本上师啊，我还没有讲，我先唱这个
So, the lineage root guru.
日喀则。
Yeah, because you mentioned about the Gacha, I thought of a song.
啊，家乡啊，我的家乡
About my homeland.
日喀则，那里有条美丽的河。
My hometown is at the Gacha. There's a beautiful river there. My grandma said that we have so many cows and sheep all over the hills. That's because the bodhisattvas in the beautiful river, there are many swans playing in the water and the beautiful eagles flying heroically and leaving behind a legendary song.
Om mani mani padme hum， 这就是家乡。我告诉你，宗喀巴最后以结尊人
Tsongkhapa
为根本上，
lastly treated Dantawa as his lineage root guru,
所有的上师，他都学过法，
but he had
得过灌顶，
learned and received empowerment by all the other gurus that he had taken
都是
refuge
他的
in.
上师，
They were all his
他
gurus.
一律都是很尊敬，
He respected them all. He
他
respected
没
them
有
all.
将他们抛于脑后，
He never
视为根本
forget
上师。
them, but also not treat them as the lineage root
只有
guru.
一位，
So there was only one lineage root guru to Guru Tsongkhapa, and that was Zejun Rindawa.
他视为传他的法的上师，
And the other gurus he treated as gurus who transmitted Dharma
只有一
upon
位
him, and he respected them all,
结尊
respected
人道
them all. But in his
永远
heart,
住在他顶
there was
上
only one lineage root
其
guru,
他的上
Zejun
师
Rindawa,
也
who's
一样
always
在他的顶上
seated on top of his
互相
head.
尊敬。
And also the other gurus too. He
我
respected
告
them
诉
all.
大家一件事情，
Let me tell you one thing.
我们要是我们当为一个人，
as a human being,
要把众生所有的人
we want to
普同尊敬。
respect everybody equally.
你不能憎恨任何一个人，
You
不
cannot
能把任何一个你的朋友抛弃，
hate or undermine
有恩于你的
anybody, any,
你更要尊敬。
especially those who
我们一个修行的人，
give you favors.
你不喜欢的人，
As spiritual
你
cultivators
也
is
要
like
爱他。
that. You should love even the people that you don't like.
你不要搞错了。所以这个人
Don't
讲呢，
mistake it.
还是将其抛之脑后，那简直
Like
是
this person say
畜
that
生，
that you
抛
just
之脑后。
completely
教
forget
你过的师傅，
about
你把它抛之
the
脑后，
gurus who have taught you
这是
something.
畜生
That's
啊，
animals.
不是人啊。
That's not human beings.
我把我的教过我的师傅全部普同尊敬，但是我把四
I
个
respect
教派的
all
上
the
师，四位根本
gurus
上师，
that have taught me something, but I treat 4 of them from 4 different sects as my lineage
怎
of
么可以抛
gurus.
之脑后？
How could you
什么
throw
东西？
them
我要骂人
out of
啊！
your brain? What
抛之脑后
the，
对你传
what
法
are
的
you
上师，你抛之脑后，
people that have transmitted some
不
Buddha
可以。
Dharma and
一律
you
平等，
throw
普
them
同尊敬。
out of your brain? No,
你的根
no
本上师
way.
在你的顶
You
上，
should respect
其他
them
的上
all.
师
Your lineage
普
root
同尊
guru
敬
above
在
your
你
head, and then all your other gurus around them.
这是
and
很
you
重要
respect them
为人
all.
的最重要，修行人
This
也
is
是最重要
very
的。
important
我
for a
告诉你一
spiritual
件事情，
cultivator.
修行人啊，对于众生，通通要普通尊敬。
For spiritual cultivator, you should respect
没
all
有一个是
sentient
就
beings.
是很坏的人，你也要尊敬
Even
他。
an evil person, you should still respect
我告
them.
诉你啊，这不只是这个就是舍，慈悲喜舍的舍日，
This is the
一定要记得
equanimity of the 4 immeasurables.
平等舍，懂
You
不
need
懂？
to remember, you have to equally,
平等舍，你如果
equally
恨哪一个人，你不
toward
会
them,
成
to
就，
treat all of them equally and equanimously.
绝对的。
If you
要为
hate
他
any
纠缠
single
到
being,
底。
you will never have
你如
attainments.
果产生恨
You
念，
would be in
恨哪一
entanglement
个
with
人，
them
我今天
forever.
产生恨念，我恨哪一个人，惨呐！你跟他
Like
永
if
远
you
都
have
过
a
不去。
thought, even one thought
因
that you
果报
hate
应来讲
someone,
是，
then you
你
would
跟
be
他永
in
远纠缠
an
不清。
endless entanglement. This is about retributions.
没有可以恨的人，
That would be horrible. You should not hate
一定要
anybody.
尊敬他，一定
You
每
have
一
to
个人都要
respect
尊敬。
every single
知
being.
道圣特丽莎怎么成圣的吗？
Do you know how
他把印度的
Saint
圣特丽莎，
Teresa becomes a
他是
saint?
把任何一个人当
Mother
成上帝。
Teresa treated every single being in India as a god, and to cure them that
你
way.
知道耶稣讲的什么话吗？
Do you know what Jesus
要
said?
爱你的敌人。
You have to love your enemies.
他被钉十字架的时候，他跟上
When
帝怎
he
么祷告的？
was crucified, how did he pray to God? Are you clear
他们
about
所做
that?
的，他们不知道。
They know not
所
what
以
they
上
do.
帝要原谅
Please
把他钉
forgive
上
them.
十字架的人，
Please forgive those who
是这样
crucified
子祷
him.
告的。
That's how he prayed.
耶稣也是一个教训，
So that's
圣
a
特丽莎也
teaching
是一个教训。
by Jesus and also by Mother Teresa or
你
Saint
把自己
Teresa.
的教你的上司，
And now you say the gurus who have taught you something, you just throw them out of your brain and just respect the lineage root guru alone? So I have taken refuge in Master Pufang and I highly respect him, although I don't treat him as my lineage root guru. My Dharma name then was Yen Tze. All of his disciples started with Yuan for complete or perfect Yuan, and Tze meaning pawn, perfect pawn. I took refuge in Master Pufang. He gave me a Dharma name, Yen Tze. I have taken refuge in many gurus, and I respect them equally. And moreover, I respect every person. You cannot look down upon anyone. This is a very good teaching today. If you despise any single person, or if you look down or hate someone, you will never have attainment. Buddhism teaches you to be kind, compassionate, joyful, and equanimous. You need to give others happiness, to alleviate their sufferings, to do them with joy, and to treat every single being equally. And that is called being equanimous. That is very important. That's the basics for spiritual cultivators. So this person asked this question. It is correct that Guru Tsongkhapa treated Zechun Rentawa as his lineage root guru, but he still highly respects his guru like Dondrup Rinchen, and he respected all his gurus. You need to understand this now. Is it clear to you? Now I will continue on the Vajra Sutra. Subhuti, all the Dharma or anything obtained by the Tathagata are neither real nor false. Why? Because real is false and false is real. Real is false, false is real. Subhuti, if a bodhisattva dwells on anything while performing acts of giving, it is as if he is in the dark, he will not see anything. But if a bodhisattva does not dwell on anything when performing acts of giving, then he is not blinded and will be able to see all sorts of forms as if the sun is shining. Subhuti, in future lives, should there be good men and good women who can accept, uphold, read or recite the sutra, they will be known and seen by the Tathagata through his wisdom, and they will attain vast and boundless merits. I will talk about this excerpt today. So the Dharma spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha include the real ones and the false ones. Why? False is real and real is false. I have spoken so much, so now you know what is false. Is the non-phenomena of self, others, sentient beings, and lifespan. And what is the real phenomena? Real phenomena is false. The real phenomena is the non-phenomena of self, others, sentient beings, and lifespan. So reality is falsehood and falsehood is reality. Real and false, false and real.
为什么佛陀一直提到而行布施啊？常常提到布施这两个字。
Why the Buddha often mentions about acts of givings?
就等于
Let me tell you, performing acts of givings is the same as doing good, which is being kind, compassionate, joyful, and
你如
equanimous.
果住相布施，
But if you give
什么叫住相布施呢？
with dwelling on forms, and what is that? The Buddha often said this.
轮回就是我
In
们
order
学
to
佛人最
abandon
重要的
the
一个
rebirth cycle of the six realms, which is the most important thing for human beings, if you want to be
开悟了
enlightened,
以后呢，你实际上去修行，
and after you gain enlightenment, you
有一
put it
天
into
你
real
解脱了
practice,
轮回，你不用再
and
来
one
轮
day
回了，
you're liberated from
你到了
the
十圣界，
rebirth cycle, and you don't have to be reincarnated again, and you go,
住相
you've
只要
gone to
你
the
住
sexually
相
realms.
就不能到十圣界。
If you
没有错
dwell
啊，
on
我们今
form,
天
you
做
can
布施
never go to the
慈
sexually
悲喜
realms.
舍我们在做，
So that is right. We do the
你不能有
kindness,
布施
compassion, joy, and
想说
equanimity,
你在做善事，
and you
你在做
give,
慈，
but you
做
cannot
悲，
think about
做
it,
喜，做舍，不可以这样子
that
想。
you are being kind, compassionate,
这个叫
joyful,
住
or
相布施
equanimous. So
释迦
this
牟
is
尼有
called
谈到，
giving without
因为
dwelling.
你住相布施啊，
Sakyamuni Buddha
绝
often
对
mentioned
生在
this.
天上，
Because if you still dwell, you would only go to the
天上
heavens,
还是不能够离开轮回。
and that
佛教
is
讲的就
not
是解
beyond
脱
the
轮
rebirth
回，
cycle. But Buddhism
解脱轮回，你
is
就
talking
永远能
about
够
liberation
解
from
脱
the
出来。
rebirth cycle. Then you can attain the state of Tathagata
一个目的，
eternally. Only one goal.
你做善事，
You do good,
千万不能把说我做善
by
事
all
这个念
means.
头在
You
你
never,
中，
you should never have the thought
没
that
有
you
这个
are
念
doing
头
good.
还是好的，并不是不好。
If you
但
have
是
such
你
a
只能
thought
够
that is still good, however,
人天福报，你
all
得
you
到的
can
福报
get is the
回到
blessings
天
or the
上
good
去。释迦
fortune
牟尼佛强调这一点，
of the heavenly
强
and
调
human
非
realms.
强调非常的
Sakyamuni
多次，
Buddha
非常多非常
put
多的次
great importance and highly emphasize this point many, many, many
耶稣也
times.
讲啊，我常常
And
强调
Jesus also
右
said
手
it.
做的善
I
事，不
often
要
talk
让你
about
左
it.
手知道。
Don't let the left hand know what what good deeds the right hand did.
这个是在真正做善事啊。
That would be a true
你做
acts
善
of
事的
giving.
时候，你心本来就是在做善事。
When you perform acts of givings, your mind is performing acts of givings, your actions are doing good, but you should not be
没有相。
thinking about it. No forms,
释迦牟尼佛强调这一点，强调
none
非常
of the
的多
phenomena.
次。
Sakyamuni Buddha emphasized this many, many times, this point over and over,
因为你做善事啊，就不是做善事。
because doing acts of giving is not doing acts of giving, and because you're not doing acts of givings, it is doing acts
就
of
不是
givings.
功德。
The so-called merits is not merits, and because it is not merits, therefore it
经
is
当中里面
merits.
提到了好多次这样
It has been mentioned
所谓功德，
multiple times in the Vajra Sutra. The so-called merits are basically not merits, and because it is not merits, therefore it is merits.
布施就不是布施，
So the
因
good
为不
deeds
是
you
布
do
施，
are
那
not
才是
good
真正的
deeds,
布施。
or the giving that
你
the giving is not giving, and because it is not giving, it is the real giving. It's not that you do good deeds today and then you see it on the news tomorrow. That's not merit. You just go to heavens. Like if people praise you that you are a philanthropist, you're a good person, so you should do it and not being praised by others. Even if people talk about it, you don't keep it in mind because that's how you are. You're good anyway, and you don't keep it in your heart. That's acts of giving without dwelling on forms. This is extremely crucial. So, the sutra text. Subhuti, if Bodhisattva dwells on anything while performing acts of giving, it is as if he is in the dark, he will not see anything. If Bodhisattva does not dwell on anything when performing acts of giving, then he is not blinded and will be able to see all sorts of forms as if the sun is shining. Subhuti, in future life, should there be good men and women who accept, uphold it, and recite the sutra, they will be known and seen by Tathagata through his wisdom and will attain vast and boundless merits. Anyone that can accept the sutra, uphold continuously the non-phenomena of self, others, sentient beings, and lifespan, and also can recite it, then eventually they would become a Buddha and be liberated from the rebirth cycle. They will be known and seen by the Tathagata through his wisdom and will attain vast and boundless merits. Why? Because Buddhas know each other. Tathagatas know each other. The Tathagata knows them because they are not human beings anymore. What are they then? If someone curses you, you're not human. You should be happy because you're a Buddha. Only Buddhas know about Buddhas. This notion can only be known by the Buddhas. It is truly difficult to be liberated from the 6 realms, the rebirth cycle. The Raja Sutra is extremely wonderful. See, it talks about the non-phenomenon of self, other sentient beings, and lifespan. Why don't you realize them? And you do acts of givings without dwelling on phenomena, and then in the future you would become a bodhisattva, a true bodhisattva, an arhat. Why become an arhat? Human beings have feelings. Where do the feelings come from? From the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So the arhats close off the 6 thieves. They close off their eyes, don't see anything. The ears, not to hear anything. The mouth, not to say anything. The tongue, not to taste anything. And the body, not to touch anything. And the mind, to have no thoughts. Then you would have the attainment of arhat. Or you would attain arhatship. Because I often give this example. On the moon, you directly become completely empty. Why does human life exist? Because you hear, you see, you smell, you taste, you can feel when you touch. That's why you know there is a human life. When all this are gone,
你就到了月球。
then you would have gone to the moon.
我把月球当成什么？
I treat the moon as the Tathagata.
那里没有人。
There are no human beings there.
为什么有人生？
Why is there a human
6
life?
个感觉。
Because you have the 6 senses. That's why there is a human life.
全部没有了。
But if you eliminate the 6 senses,
阿罗汉。
that's arhatship. You would have attained arhatship.
有人跟我讲，
Someone told
的
me,
道理我们都知道，
well, we know all the concepts you said,
难做得到。
but it is extremely difficult to put it into practice. Why?
习性都没有改，
Because you haven't changed your habitual tendencies. Then how can you achieve them?
习性还在啊。
The habitual tendencies are still there.
这贪、嗔、痴、疑、慢，
Greed, anger, delusion, doubt, pride, and all sorts of habitual tendencies that you have should be gradually changed. Should be changed gradually until lastly everything is equal. So like what Sakyamuni Buddha said, it's very difficult to find in other religions. Of course they have some, but may not be clearly spoken like Sakyamuni Buddha, as clear as Sakyamuni Buddha. For other religions, they only go to the heavens. However, if you truly comprehend Jesus, inside Jesus' teachings is really Buddha Dharma. You know, the equanimity of the 4 immeasurables was also spoken by Jesus. And also acts of givings without dwelling on forms was also spoken by Jesus. Don't let the left hand know the good deeds the right hand does. That is acts of givings without dwelling on forms. Jesus also spoke on it, but he was rarely truly understood by people, because he also went to the Himalayan and studied the Dharma of Nyingmapa and Kagyupa. And then he returned and only spread the gospels of the heavenly realms. But that's only the foundation, because he only spread the gospels for 3 short years. He did not have time to continue. Otherwise, who knows? He would have become a Buddha. He would be the same as Sakyamuni Buddha. So, the concepts that I taught, like Saint Teresa in Catholicism, she treated every single being as God. This kind of spirit of philosophy is the kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And in the worldly practice, she stressed most on equanimity. So she treated everyone equally as God. Of course, she's a saint. Otherwise, what would she be? Of course. And if you're a saint, then you would leave behind the 3 realms. You don't have to be reincarnated again. This is what Sakyamuni Buddha said. Subhuti, all the dharma or anything obtained by the Tathagata are neither real nor false. Subhuti, if a bodhisattva dwells on anything while performing acts of giving, it is as if he is in the dark, he will not see anything. If a bodhisattva does not dwell on anything when performing acts of giving, then he is not blinded and will be able to see all sorts of forms as if the sun is shining. Subhuti, in future lives, should there be good men and good women who can accept and uphold, read or recite the sutra, they will be known and seen by the Tathagata through his wisdom, and they will attain vast and boundless merits. Remember, accept, uphold, read and recite, or explain, transmit the Dharma, then that would be Tathagata. And through the Buddha's wisdom eye, then they will be seen by Tathagata. And this person would be a Buddha. And they will attain vast and boundless merits. It's completely boundless and infinite. The merits is. Now, what time is it? I heard that it is good to get cold shower in winter, and it's good for you. So I tried it, and before I tried it, I was 36.5 Celsius, and now it's 39.5. So my body has warmed up quite a bit. So not necessarily, maybe for some people, but not for everyone. A asked, do you know what I do? B said, of course, you're a politician. Ah, that's right, the guess. So how did you guess? Oh, because I know. Because you never keep your promise. That's the case with politicians. We often hear politicians say what they say, change back and forth. Like end of the year party, I drank too much, and I saw a big dog in front of the restaurant, face to face, and he glared at me and I glared to him, and we didn't want to give way for over an hour. And then the employee from the restaurant told me, you've been looking at this stone lion for so long, what are you doing? So that's the kind of thing that happens when you're drunk. Remember, never drive after you drink. The husband told the wife, honey, where are my leather shoes under the bed? Oh, those are old shoes. I threw them out. What? He's anxious. Oh, we have to be frugal. You know, I can still wear them. So please don't throw them away. I have to get them back. But the wife said, no worries. I have taken all the monies from inside them. Money, baby, home.